Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Colorado Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. And this is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. The presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website where you registered. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters, and we are in D3 this evening, so we will start with Allegheny College.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to get started. Hi, I'm Linda Clune. I'm the Senior Associate Director in the Admissions Office at Allegheny. And as you can see from our introductory slide, we were founded in 1815, which means that we have a long history of, long history. But we also always make decisions for our future and the students who attend Allegheny. We have been lauded as a school that is one of the most innovative in the country, and that takes us into our future. Having trouble with my screen share right now, so sorry about that. We are located in Meadville, Pennsylvania, which is actually in the northwest corner of Pennsylvania, which is very different from many of the schools here tonight. We're located in about an hour and a half from Pittsburgh, an hour and a half from Cleveland, and also a few hours from Buffalo and very close to Toronto as well. We're located in Meadville, Pennsylvania, which is a town of about 40,000 people in the greater area of Meadville. And we bring students to our community, all undergraduate students, and there are 1,800 students from 47 states and 70 different countries. They all live on campus. We really take great pride in our residential community, and we really want students to understand the diversity around them and learn from the diversity around them. And that's why our geographic diversity, and also we have a large number of first-generation students, domestic of color, religious affiliations. And again, our community is very committed to having students learn from the diversity around you. We really think it's important for all students to have different views and different backgrounds, and they will do that through the 100% residential. Our average class size is 18. Our student faculty ratio is 11:1, and we've been listed in our rankings as number 82 in the best national liberal arts colleges in the nation from U.S. News and World Report, and most recently number 35 in best liberal arts colleges from the Washington Monthly. But we really take wonderful pride in the accomplishments of being in the colleges that change lives, and understanding that our commitment to the transformative experience of all of our students. We are 8th. We also recently achieved carbon neutrality, and we were the 8th college in the US to do so, and the 1st in Pennsylvania. So we take a lot of pride in our core value of sustainability as well as service. What distinguishes Allegheny? Our major minor combination, undergraduate research, and experiential learning. Really, these are the pathways to that evolving and transformation that we really hope all of our students do during their 4 years at Allegheny. Our major minor combination is most depicted by the Venn diagram that you see now. All of our students must declare a major and a minor by the end of their 2nd year, and their major and their minor have to be in 2 different divisions. So you see the divisions here. We have a growing interdivisional situation as well, our Division II. And so again, interdisciplinary learning is very important. And what's wonderful about this is you will be taking courses along the 4 years in all different disciplines. And so you'll be consistently being in the classroom situation, learning about different perspectives, learning how to solve problems from different viewpoints, which we think is really, really important to the learning environment, and finding your own pathway as well. All of our students are also very, very involved and leaders in our community as well, and they have an opportunity to do that in various clubs and organizations really from day one. Our application requirements are definitely holistic. We've been test optional for a long time now with application or admission as well as merit. Our top merit scholarship is up to $38,000, and we do not have an application fee. You can see our decision plans here with early decision as well as early action. And we only require the FAFSA for need-based aid as well. There are many ways to come and learn more about Allegheny. We actually offer a lot of information sessions as well as other virtual programming. And we also do in-person visits as well. We've been doing that since July, and we would really love if you can come visit and learn more. Thank you very much. Hopefully at the end, you'll have some questions.
All right, everyone. And up next, we will hear from Arcadia University.
Hey, before I begin, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, so I know I don't have a lot of time, so I want to keep this brief. Welcome to Arcadia University. Just to learn a little bit about who we are as an institution, we are located in Glenside, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of the Philadelphia region. We're actually about 20-25 minutes from Center City, Philadelphia. So I think we offer students that really great balance between a more quiet suburban university, but still having easy access to a major city. Train station about 5-10 minutes walk from campus, so easy access for students whenever they want to go into the city. As far as our numbers go, we are a little bit of a smaller school with just over 2,000 undergraduate students. We do have a substantial number of graduate programs that does bring our overall population close to 4,000, but still a little bit on the smaller side. But with that comes a great opportunity for students to get to know professors to get to know them. Officially, our student to faculty ratio is 12-1. So, I mean, any given class will usually have around 14-15 students in it. So students never have to worry about just being a number in the class. They get to really, I think, learn in an environment that is more tailored to that personalized educational experience. Now, even though we are a little bit smaller, that doesn't dissuade or minimize what we have to offer for students academically. We do have more than 65 different fields of study to choose from. A lot of programs across all major disciplines. A lot of programs that also offer very unique experiences to continue on to graduate school and doctoral programs at Arcadia through some of our assured admission program. So, for example, we have a top 20 in the nation doctorate of physical therapy program, a highly ranked physician assistant program. And for both of those, even though they are at the graduate level, students can come as incoming first year students and go through kind of an assured admission track to be guaranteed their seat into those programs. So a lot of great opportunities at the undergraduate level, at the graduate level that we have to offer for students in terms of academics. Now, aside from the academics, we do have 26 different Division III athletic teams. And the great thing about being Division III is that students are true student athletes. They understand that the academics do come first, but they can still compete at a very high level. We consistently have students and teams that are going to conference championships, winning conference championships. And it's nice to see how pretty much everyone at the university really buys into the student experience. So if there's like a big tournament or a big match or a big meet that is being played on any given day or weekend, faculty members will work with the students to make sure that they allocate time for that, and vice versa. If there's a big exam, a big project, the coach and staff will also make sure that the students are leaving plenty of time for that as well. So whether it's faculty, whether it's staff, coach and staff, it's nice how everyone pretty much buys into the student experience. Now, aside from the athletics, we do have more than 60 different clubs and organizations. They range anywhere from major-based organization, interest-based. That number actually consistently grows, about 5 to 10 different organizations every year, which just shows the accessibility for what students can be involved in. If there's a club for them, they can join. If they don't have one, all they have to do is get a group of people, go to our student activities board, and pretty much create a club from nothing. So yeah. Now, as far as housing goes, we do guarantee housing all 4 years. It's not required at any point for our students to live on campus. But like I said, guaranteed. Most of our students do live on campus, about 85% of our students. So we are a fairly residential school. But being so close to Philadelphia, we do have the students that either live at home, commute and live off campus. If they're upperclassmen, they might live off campus as well. And as far as our residential options, traditional dormitories, where it's 2-door room, 3-door room. We also have suite style, apartment style living for some of our upperclassmen students, and then special interest housing. So we will constantly see the Arcadia Castle as pretty much the centerpiece of our university. And on the 3rd floor of that centerpiece building is the residence hall for first-year students as well. Okay, now this is probably the thing that makes us stand out a little bit more in terms of distinction on a national scale. We have been nationally ranked in study abroad participation for the last 10 years. I believe 9 of those 10 years were as #1. Just this past year alone, students earned credit in over 39 different countries. So it's really great to see how far Arcadia students' reach can go. And before it's all said and done, before a student graduates, about 3/4 of our student population does go abroad in some capacity. So whether that's a traditional program, one of our short-term programs, or one of our more unique study abroad programs, students have the option to go abroad any semester of their 4 years at Arcadia, and they can make those experiences what they want to. So if they want to go abroad based on a major, if they want to go abroad based on interest, we also have a great internship abroad experience for students that want to also work through an internship abroad, they can. And yeah, in no way is it a requirement for students, since we always try to advertise and showcase this. People think that it is a requirement, but no, it's just something that we're really, really proud of and want to showcase for students to get that globalized education. Now, as far as the admissions process goes, we do have a few special admit programs that kind of go on top of the traditional admissions process. So for any students that are interested in our honors program, Civic Scholars, we do have a social action and justice education fellowship as well. Our first year and second year study abroad experiences do require a supplemental application review on top of our traditional review. And all of these special admit programs have a liaison to them. So for example, I review and help students for the SAGE fellowship, and this is what the requirements are for the traditional application requirements. Application, high school transcript, one recommendation either from a school counselor or teacher. We are test optional, so SAT or ACT scores.
I'm sorry, Alex, we are at time, so I'm going to introduce
that
the next
actually was the last piece of it.
Fantastic. And I do want to encourage any participants who have questions for specific institutions, feel free to ask those questions in the chat at any time. You do not need to just kind of focus on whatever school is being presented. So next up, again, we are here, so we'll hear from Bucknell next.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's going on here, but I think we're good to go. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bucknell University. We are a national university located in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, with a rich tradition of over 170 years of educating students from all across the globe. We really value the size that we have at Bucknell. I think that's really one of our greatest attributes. We have a lot of features of smaller institutions in terms of our class sizes are very small, averaging about 20 students. Our student to faculty ratio really sits at 9:1. And so all of our students, all 3,600 of them, mostly are undergraduate students. And so what that creates is really a student-focused environment. None of our classes are taught by teaching assistants or grad assistants. All of your instruction will be with our faculty. And so we really encourage students to really benefit from the liberal arts curriculum, taking classes from a multiple of disciplines, exploring different research areas and internships, and getting to do so in an environment where your faculty are going to know you by name and really allow you to engage in a variety of different projects and just explore your various interests. We have about 65 or so majors and 70 minors that are split across our 3 different academic colleges. So we have our College of Arts and Sciences with most of our majors, our College of Engineering with 8 majors, and our Freeman College of Management with 7 majors. With our Arts and Sciences College, that's really a place for you just to continue to explore. If you are double majoring, more than likely this will be an area where you would double major in that college. And a lot of our minors are also offered in that college as well. So you can definitely know that you will take some classes there regardless of which one of our 3 schools you find yourself in. Some of our newest majors that we've added recently in this college are in statistics, in biophysics, and also in Arabic and Arab World Studies major. So those are some interesting new programs that we are happy to offer our students. With our College of Engineering, we have 8 different majors. And what's nice about engineering at Bucknell is that you're not going to be just a tech-focused sort of engineer. You're going to be an engineer who's taking writing classes, humanities, some art classes, potentially social sciences. You're going to learn how to publicly speak. You're going to learn how to create an argument, and all of those things that our other students in our more liberal arts sort of programs are taking advantage of. So not only will you have the technical know-how, but you will be prepared to be an overall academic and professional with a variety of soft skills that you can draw on in addition to your technical ones. And within our Freeman College of Management, we have 7 different majors there, including 2 new ones, one being kind of a general business management and leadership sort of major. And then also a new program in real estate as a minor, as well as a general kind of business administration sort of minor there as well. So, management is definitely an area that is really popular at Bucknell. We hold a distinct accreditation with the Association for the Advancement of Collegiate Schools of Business, AAC. SB, which is a distinction that only 5% of the top business schools in the world hold. So our academics are definitely very rigorous within management. You have tons of opportunities for internships, hands-on experience, and some really great classes that'll give you some very practical sort of hands-on experience with us. In terms of student life, I think this is where we feel a little bit larger. 3,600 students really isn't a lot, but we offer over 200 clubs and organizations for you to participate in. We have 27 Division I athletic programs, which is really remarkable and quite a bit for a school of our size. 14 women's teams and 13 men's teams. We also offer a host of different activities for students, whether it's in cultural life or within, specific majors of interest, different housing sort of options. We are residential. About 92% of our students are living on campus, many of them living in different living and learning communities as well. Half of our students go abroad at some point, so definitely something that's very, very popular at Bucknell. Our outcomes speak for themselves. 88% of our students are graduating in 4 years, or really within 6 years. 85% is in about 4 years, which is really quite outstanding, and our students definitely feel prepared for that next step when they do leave us. In terms of our application processes, we have early decision 1 and 2, as well as regular decision. We don't have early action. We are holistic in our process, so you'll definitely want to take advantage of the different pieces of the application that you are able to let us know a little bit more about you.
Great, thank you so much. And again, the Q&A box is there if you have questions for Candace. Next up, we have Dickinson College.
Hi, everyone. My name's Angie. I am your regional counselor at Dickinson and really excited to meet you all. This first screen gives you sort of the big picture on Dickinson and some things that are really notable. We have about 2,300 students. We're located in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. We'll talk about a number of the different things that are highlighted here, but I want to jump first to academics. These are some highlights of the academic program, 45 majors. Our most popular is International Business and Management. Our fastest growing is Neuroscience, and our newest is Quantitative Economics. We also have a number of certificate programs and a student-faculty ratio of 8:1 and an average class size of 14 with all classes, every single class under 50. Small classes, interaction with peers, and close work and mentoring from faculty is really the hallmark of the academic experience. This is a list of all of our majors. The programs in red are majors. There are a lot of other minors and certificate programs and pre-professional advising programs noted here. But to give you a sense of the mix of academic offerings, I want to hit a couple of things that are highlights, real distinctive elements of the personality of Dickinson. So you've heard a lot about global programs, and you'll hear a lot about those as you look at colleges. Nationally, we see less than 10%, single-digit percentage of American college students studying abroad. We typically see over 60% of a class at Dickinson studying abroad. We run 18 of our own programs and then have dozens and dozens of other partner programs. And we are the only college in the country to have won the Senator Simon Award twice for comprehensive internationalization, which refers to both our study abroad opportunities, but also the really amazing kind of global program on the home campus, whether students study abroad or not, a real 4-year focus on globalization. Sustainability is another thing that we're super invested in. We've been named the #1 college in the nation among all colleges and universities for sustainability. Our campus achieved carbon neutrality this year. This is just an area, we typically are on all of those green school, green college lists. This is an area where Dickinson really stands out. And again, like the global focus, really a thread through the entire curriculum. Okay, tons of things to do on campus. There are so many different student activities, and there's a lot of flexibility to try new things and different things and start new clubs. Fantastic Division III athletic programs in the Centennial Conference. This gives you a little bit of info on our graduates. They are very successful. 94% of the former graduating class completed an internship, field work, shadowing, service learning. We guarantee an internship for every student who wants one, so that's going to go to 100%. But we see 98% of our graduates employed in grad school or a professional internship, and our acceptance rates for law school, 94%, med school, 95%, really phenomenal advising to get students to where they want to be at the next stage. I want to show you where we're located. Carlisle, Pennsylvania is a suburb of the state capital, but itself a small town, really wonderful, wonderful community, and close to a lot of those mid-Atlantic cities that might be a weekend road trip for you. Carlisle's been named a most livable city. It's won a Strongest Town Award, and it's been named a Best College Town. So really, really cool town. I should mention too that only 18% of our student body come from the state of Pennsylvania. We absolutely love students from all over the country, all over the world, adding to the diversity of the place. little bit of info about the admission process. And I would say as a few highlights that we have been test optional since '94. This year we are test blind, test free, completely removing that element from both the admission and the scholarship processes so that any student who's had trouble sitting for a test, who's had cancellations for test administrations will not be held back. We meet 100% of the demonstrated need of our students, and our scholarship information is listed here as well. I want you all to have the dates for our virtual fall open house. It's going to be a choose your own adventure themed program and a lot of fun. And I really hope that you'll join us. So jot down that date and jot down to my email address. I'm your regional counselor at Dickinson. I'm sad not to be visiting Colorado right now, as I have for so many years, but I'm really looking forward to connecting with you, answering your questions at any point in the process. And I will be in the Q&A to answer additional questions, any questions that you have this evening, but my email address is here so that you can be in touch with me if you have questions in the meantime. Thanks very much, everyone.
All right, thank you. And up next, we've got Drexel.
All right, thank you so much. So hi everybody, my name is Angela Saheda. I'm the Assistant Director at Drexel University. We are located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and hopefully within the next 6 minutes or so, you'll get a little bit more information about our campus and then some of the pictures just to kind of get that perspective of our urban environment that we have to offer. So really a theme that you'll see throughout this entire information session is the focus on experiential learning. So really getting that good hands-on learning experience both in the classroom, but then also outside of the classroom, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So it's also important to consider the facts of the university. So Drexel is a mid to large size university. We have just over 15,000 undergraduate students. The nice thing is though, even though we have that larger population on campus, our average class size is still between 18 and 20 students. So that's pretty unique in being a larger research school, still being able to provide that individualized attention. Kind of going alongside that, the student to faculty ratio is 11:1. So again, having that individualized attention that you may want or that you may need really throughout your time at Drexel. It's just nice to know that you kind of have that additional support. Now at Drexel, we have over 80 undergraduate majors, and they all fall within these colleges and schools. So you definitely have a lot of options to choose from. And when you apply, you will apply directly into one of these programs. We review you specifically for the major that you intend to study, because we want you to start taking major related classes as soon as you get to campus. Now Drexel's on a 10-week quarter system. It's pretty fast paced. So we don't want you to waste any time. We want you to just be able to dive right into your program of interest. And it also allows you, if you need to change your major down the road, you can do that early on without setting back your time that you're spending at Drexel. We also want you to begin taking major related classes so that we can early on start this cycle of world-class academics and real-world experience. So again, experiential learning, getting that good hands-on experience in the classroom setting, but then really being able to apply it to the real world. And then you take what you learn in the real world and you bring it back to the classroom setting. So a lot of that does have to do with the cooperative education program that we offer to our students. Every single major has the option to do at least one cooperative education experience or co-op. Co-op is full-time work experience that you'll get in the field related to your major, whether it's engineering, business, music industry, interior design. You have all of those options to get full-time work experience in the industry related to your major. On the screen are just a handful of examples of what students have done in the past, but we have an entire office dedicated to helping you find your co-op. You'll also have a co-op advisor that can sit down with you and talk about what you think you may be interested in, what might be a good employer for you to seek out those co-ops. So you'll apply for those positions, you'll interview with the employers, and ultimately be working full-time for a 6-month period of time. Within most of the programs at Drexel, you have an option to do a 4-year program or a 5-year program. Now, the difference is just the number of co-op experiences that you receive. So for our 4-year students, you have 12 academic terms of classes, and you get 1 co-op for a 6-month period of time that happens in your 3rd year. The difference with the 5-year program, it's just that you're getting 3 of those co-op experiences. So I feel like with some majors, we tend to see more students pursue 5-year compared to 4-year. Things like computer science, biomedical engineering, we almost always see those students pursue the 5-year 3 co-op, but it really is going to be up to you, and it's something that you will select on your application. Keep in mind, as you start learning more about co-op, prior to getting to Drexel, you do have that opportunity, of course, to change. It's a very easy switch to make. If you're not sure if you want to do 4 years or 5 years, don't worry about that. You'll be able to change it. So the big difference is just that you're either graduating with 6 months of full-time work experience or a year and a half, really, of full-time work experience directly related to your field. A little bit about our campus. We are located in an area that's called University City. So it's Drexel University, right next to University of Pennsylvania, and right on the other side of Penn is University of the Sciences. So this whole area is just filled with college students, especially coming to a new city and getting used to the college environment. It's just great being surrounded by other college students. On our campus alone, we have over 350 clubs and organizations. We have Division I athletics. Of course, we have club and intramural teams as well. Drexel does have a 2-year residency program. So your first year, you'll live in one of our first-year residence halls, and your second year, you can live in either a residence hall or in Drexel-affiliated housing. So those are more like apartment-style complexes that you can live in that second year. So tons of things to do on our campus, but since we are an urban environment, we are kind of the best of both worlds, having a college campus just right there in the city. But there are a lot of things that you can be involved in, both on campus, but then also just in the city of Philadelphia as well. So we definitely want you to be involved in that as well. In terms of the application process, it's pretty much just your standard materials that we need. We're on the common application or the coalition application. We don't have a preference, just whichever you submit. You'll, of course, submit your high school transcripts. If you've taken any college level classes, you can feel free to send those transcripts to us as well if they're not on your high school transcript. And then standardized test scores, we're test optional this year. So you don't need to send those in. And then letters of recommendation, essay, those are all sort of just to supplement your application. This here is my contact information, so you can feel free to jot that down. I'm the territory representative who handles all of Colorado, so feel free to reach out to me. I'll be the one reading your application, and I'll be your point person throughout the process. So just let me know if you have any questions at all, and thank you.
All right, and our final presenter for this session is Haverford College. And again, I do see a couple people taking advantage of the Q&A, but go ahead and pop those questions in there.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Kathleen Abels. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Admission at Haverford College. Wanted to start with my contact info, just in case that would be helpful to you. I also shared a fun fact. We have 2 rescue dogs in my family. One of them was adopted in the great state of Colorado. But I hope it's clear, right? Anyone who's working in admission is doing so because they're really excited to work with students. And so while it's sort of weird to connect virtually, I am really grateful for this opportunity and for your time this evening. Some quick facts about Haverford. We have just about 1,400 students, entirely undergraduate. For our entering class of 2024, just about 46% of our students identify as people of color. That does include international students. So if you're looking at US citizens or permanent residents, undocumented or documented students, you're looking at just about 40% of students on campus. Like many of my colleagues, your classes are small. Average class size at Haverford is 14, and we think student voice is really essential throughout your 4-year experience at Haverford. Haverford is located just outside of the city of Philadelphia, so about 3 miles from the Philadelphia city line. There's a lot of love for Philly tonight, which I am thrilled by. Our campus is just over 200 acres. As was mentioned on the previous screen, my favorite Haverford stat, there is a 6-to-1 tree to student ratio. So you're surrounded by a lot of natural beauty, and you're still just about a 10-minute walk to 2 different train lines to get into the 6th largest city in the United States. As many of my colleagues have shared, Philly is a wonderful city to be a young person. It's a city that's often sort of called a city of eds and meds, right? So some of the best hospitals in the United States are in the city of Philadelphia, and there are a lot of really wonderful institutions of higher education, many of which you've heard from tonight. Haverford is part of a larger consortium. So you get all of the benefits of being at a small liberal arts college. Average class size is 14. Every class is taught by a faculty member at the top of their field academically and someone who also really loves to teach. And we also guarantee undergraduate research. So we're one of just a handful of colleges and universities to make that guarantee to each and every one of our students. Our students are able to take whatever courses they'd like at, of course, Haverford, and also Bryn Mawr College and Swarthmore College, two other fantastic liberal arts colleges. And if a class isn't offered at Haverford, Bryn Mawr, or Swarthmore, you can take that at the University of Pennsylvania in any of their 5 undergraduate colleges, including the Wharton School of Business. This is, I love maps, so this is just a map to sort of situate yourself. There's free transportation between Haverford and Bryn Mawr and Haverford and Swarthmore. And if you're on financial aid and you're taking one of those train lines into the city of Pennsylvania, or the University of Pennsylvania, excuse me, you can get that covered by financial aid as well. So really easy to take advantage of wonderful educational opportunities, but also experiences across these 4 campuses. We have a few dual degree partnerships. So you'd graduate in 4 years with your Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Sciences from Haverford, and then you can graduate in just 1 additional year with a master's in these fields listed below. One of the programs I always like to highlight is our 4+1 engineering program with the University of Pennsylvania. And we're one of just a handful of liberal arts colleges to have that program that allows for students to get a master's degree instead of a dual bachelor's degree. I always like to share a little bit about our top 10 majors. One of the reasons is I think oftentimes people hear liberal arts colleges and you think, okay, that's a great place to study the natural sciences, right? Or excuse me, social sciences, or that's a great place to study the humanities. And it certainly is, but it's also an amazing place to study the natural sciences. 6 of our top 10 majors last year were in the natural sciences, and that guaranteed undergraduate research goes across majors and across disciplines. As I mentioned earlier, we think every student is capable of doing their own undergraduate research, and we want to make that really a culminating moment in your life as a scholar. So what your thesis looks like can vary greatly, but really the idea is you're taking a step back and saying, what is a question that has not yet been answered in my field? You get to work collaboratively with a faculty member and other peers going about answering that question. And while on some level it's a really sort of individual process, the learning environment at Haverford is deeply collaborative. And so you have your fellow peers, fellow students lifting you up as you're supporting and lifting them up as well. We're interested in making sure students recognize the kinds of big questions that are being asked and answered on our campus have meaning and value in communities across the United States and across the globe. We have these 3 academic centers. They are both physical spaces, but also grant-making bodies. And that allows students to apply for up to a $10,000 internship or research grant. I like to think they're places where our students get to say, wouldn't it be cool if? And they find the funding and the advising to make that possible. 145 clubs and organizations on campus. And the last thing that I really like to end on is the importance of student voice. We have an honor code that's entirely student run, both social and academic in nature, and means that you're really in the driver's seat of your educational experience. Looking forward to the Q&A. Thanks so much.
All right, everyone. So we have just about 4 minutes to wrap up and put your questions in the Q&A. And all of our presenters will have access to those questions. We did already have a question that was sort of open to everybody, all of our schools. Any clubs about diversity and or inclusion? That's a general question to all the schools.
Joelle, I'll jump in there and answer that question. But honestly, I think I'm answering it on behalf of all of my colleagues because I think all of our campuses have clubs that focus on diversity and inclusion. It's such an important issue. And I think on all of our campuses, we're really trying to help students develop a sense of responsibility to their communities that's reflected through this work in diversity and inclusion. I see nods around the screen. I know that I'm speaking for all of us. This is a really important experience students can have on any of these college campuses.
Candace, there's a question for Bucknell about music production programs.
We do not specifically have anything in music production from a kind of, I guess from that standpoint, we do have a music major and we do have a music minor as well. So if you're interested in like vocal performance or even composition, education, etc., we do have some programs there, but kind of like music mixing, sound mixing, and etc. We don't have a program that specifically focuses in that, although you may have some opportunities to explore and kind of hone some of those skills.
Right. All right, everyone. So we are just about at time. So I want to thank everybody so much for joining us this evening. Thank you to all of our participants and to all of our panelists. If we didn't get to answer your question, we will send follow-ups to all of the presenters and they'll have your contact info and be able to answer your questions after the presentation. When you close this window, you'll have a link to a very short 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. And again, this is just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all the other session recordings at the same website where you registered. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. I'm sure I'll see a few of you in about 15 minutes at the next session. Thank you again to all of our presenters and have a great evening.